I flew from the new LaGuardia. Back in May of last year, I flew through New York City on one of the more complex itineraries I'd ever booked. Basically, I found an enticing Aeroplan redemption from Frankfurt home to Calgary involving stops in both New York and Toronto. That first leg arrived at New York's JFK Airport, but this next one on Air Canada to Toronto left from LaGuardia. JFK and LaGuardia airports are physically not that far apart, so after losing an hour of connection time to the JFK customs line and getting myself a not cheap Uber, I found myself here at LaGuardia Airport's Terminal B. Now, LaGuardia has been through nothing short of a transformation over the past couple of years. It had been notorious for outdated infrastructure, delays, and a generally unpleasant passenger experience. In 2015, though, a major redevelopment plan was unveiled that would effectively replace the airport in its entirety. Terminal B, especially, where Air Canada flies out of, has been completely reconstructed under this project. With all of that in mind, I was curious to see and experience the new LaGuardia for myself. Now, I will admit, I hadn't been here prior to the redevelopment, but even without that, I can certainly say this is a very nice departure hall. The high ceilings and lots of natural light make it feel very open, and Air Canada's check-in can be found off to the side at Area G. They had the usual self-check-in kiosks available, and I was able to get my boarding passes without any trouble. Now, I know New York to Toronto is a busy route, especially for business travelers, but I don't think anybody is paying that kind of money for an hour-long flight. Also on the eastern wall was this nice printed mural showcasing the whole redevelopment. Terminal B specifically will be the focus of this video, and it's used by Air Canada, American, United, Southwest, and JetBlue. The first couple of gates opened in 2018, while the departure hall itself opened to the public in 2020. It is a remarkable infrastructure project, especially because it had to be built while still keeping the existing parts of the terminal operational. I eventually made my way through TSA, which was a breeze, and went straight to the windows for possibly the coolest part of this whole thing. The new Terminal B features 2 bridges over a taxiway, a huge part of relieving the apron congestion that the original terminal faced. I'll take a closer look at those shortly. As you head towards the gates, you are funneled through a bunch of stores, as you usually are in most new airports. In that shopping area between the 2 bridges, there was another nice display of the whole project, and this amazing scale model of the entire terminal. I headed towards the western sky bridge first, and you could see they were still finishing up a few gates on that side when I was there. That bridge also had a spectacular view of the skyline of Midtown Manhattan. This was my first time being in New York, and seeing that view in person with those super tall skyscrapers was unlike anything I'm used to. On the other side of that bridge, you can see the rest of the eastern gates, which really puts things into perspective. The bridges obviously have to be tall enough for aircraft to taxi underneath, which, well, had me very entertained. The only other time I've been to an airport with one of these was in London Gatwick, but LaGuardia's bridges are a bit lower and a bit closer to the action since they don't usually see wide-body aircraft like Gatwick does. Apparently though, Air Canada used to send 767s here on occasion, sometimes recovering for cancelled flights. These days though, the A321s are the largest planes that AC sends here, and mine was finally taxiing in after being delayed leaving Toronto. This then 20-year-old A321-200, registered as Charlie Golf Juliet Whiskey November, is one of 15 A321s in the Air Canada fleet. Originally, this flight was supposed to be an A320, and I did get an email saying it was substituted due to an unforeseen maintenance issue. That, plus ground handling difficulties in Toronto, meant it arrived about an hour late. Even then, it still sat on the taxiway here for another 30 minutes, while another Toronto flight was occupying the gate. Heading down the bridge towards the eastern Terminal B gates, you come across Air Canada's Maple Leaf Lounge. Considering what a business-heavy route this is, I can see why they have one here. I didn't have a pass for this one today, but it does look pretty nice inside. Meanwhile, the rest of the terminal here only continue to impress. Those same high ceilings again, floor-to-ceiling windows, and lots of plants throughout give it a really nice feel. Although the trees are fake, yet very realistic, these planters apparently take inspiration from New York City's parks. It did get more crowded down by the rest of the gates though, but the entire thing is just really well done. As that other Toronto flight taxied out, my flight finally made its way into the gate. Although delays are annoying, I can honestly say it's not so bad when you're waiting in a terminal as nice as this. That said, I was already quite tired after that transatlantic flight, so was looking forward to going home. Let's head back to Canada. My seat for this flight is 13F, a preferred seat in the first few rows of economy class. As a preferred seat, 13F also has lots of extra legroom and this great view looking backwards at the engine. I've flown on quite a few Air Canada A321s over the years, so there's not too much different here, but the preferred seats are always very comfortable. As nice as the new terminal was, LaGuardia is still part of some of the busiest airspace in the world, so I was expecting it would be a while until we actually took off. But on a good visibility day like today, the views over the city were bound to be stunning. Here's our departure from LaGuardia, taking off from runway 13.
You're encouraged to wear your seatbelts at all times during today's flight. Using e-cigarette smoking.
Now that was a view and a half. I'm sure landing in LaGuardia is also something to experience, especially on the expressway visual approach. Today though, that departure and breaking through the clouds straight into the sunset was indeed stunning. As always, Air Canada's A320 family aircraft have this nice large tray table that adjusts. In the seat back pocket, they have the safety card, a credit card offer, and an air sickness bag. During boarding, the crew also handed out the now long gone Clean Care kits. Each seat also has built-in power, with a universal power outlet and a USB port. They also have Air Canada's legacy in-flight entertainment system, which I've talked about before. Long story short, it is slow, but has a good selection, even if elements of it have just steadily stopped working over the years. That being said, one A321 is apparently being reconfigured right now in the same style of cabin as the A220s and 737s. That will be nice to see, but I'm gonna miss all the extra padding these older seats have. I'm also kinda hoping they don't go the route of cramming all the economy lavatories into the back alley. With this only being an hour-long flight, the cabin crew quickly began a drink service, offering complimentary beverages and some Air Canada pretzels. From there, I enjoyed the evening views out the window as we made our way northwest towards Ontario. We soon began our descent into Toronto, only to be met with a hold near Niagara Falls. We did get a nice look at Niagara Falls International Airport on the American side, and even the falls themselves. That hold was later cancelled, and we made our way towards the airport, with still some more spectacular views of downtown Toronto. As we passed Toronto's Pearson Airport on the downwind, here's the arrival onto runway 06 right.
Welcome to Toronto. The local time is 8:17 p.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and your baggage stowed until the seatbelt sign.
So that was one of my more interesting transborder flights. Although the actual in-flight portion was fairly uneventful, the views of the cities on both ends were definite highlights. I'm glad I had the chance to see the new LaGuardia for myself too. It absolutely lives up to all the hype I'd heard about it, and I'd go back if I had the chance. Arriving into Toronto though, well, what was originally a 3-hour connection onwards to Calgary got progressively shorter and shorter as the day went on. This was also last summer, where customs delays at Pearson were very common. Basically, I ran right from customs and didn't stop walking until I sat down on that last flight. I still made it home that same day, so it all worked out in the end.
Cabin crew, prepare for arrival traffic. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this flight from LaGuardia to Toronto with Air Canada, and I'll catch you next time.